Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Launched in 2007, the Omega de Ville Hour Vision was a breakthrough, both aesthetically and mechanically, as it was the launch platform for the purpose-built 8500 series coaxial movements. A year later, Omega launched the Hour Vision annual calendar, and it is one of my favorite watches. So we have the annual calendar right here, 41 millimeters in stainless steel. It's 14.3 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 49.6 millimeters, and it has a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can imagine why I longed for this watch while I waited for my train in Penn Station at the old Tourneau location there. This thing was grand then, it is grand now. It's not excessively large, though it's not particularly small. It's big by the standards of dress watches, but remember, it's also 100 meters water resistant in steel, automatic winding, and very rugged, so this could absolutely be your sports watch as well as your dress watch. That said, those under 15 centimeters of wrist circumference are going to need to look for a smaller Omega than this one. The watch is exceptionally spec'd, as a flagship should be. We have a highly bolstered strap with a lot of stuffing, large rectangular scale alligator leather in matte black. We have a folded edge calfskin on the bottom. You can appreciate that this is a brand new Omega factory strap. We have a deployant clasp, all of high polish, and then you can see it's a twin trigger release. The strap tucks into the clasp, tucks in and under, and then you close the clasp, and all of the excess length is hidden underneath the strap and the clasp body, so there's no need for miter loops, and it's a very clean look because of the twin triggers too. This is not a friction fit clasp that would be susceptible to opening by accident. The case is absolutely unique. One of the reasons the watch was called Hour Vision is because you have a broad an encompassing view of the movement through a partially sapphire case. And this was one of the earliest watches to consider sapphire as a case component and then employ it for dramatic transparency, and that's exactly what we have right here. The rest of the case is also quite impressive, as you can see that the flanks of the lugs are somewhat inward canted and concave and vertically set and finished. There's a polished bevel on their edge. Lug hoods are polished, the domed bezel is polished, the crown is polished and Omega branded. When we flip it over, you can see caliber 8601. This is the annual calendar version of the 8500, a tri-level coaxial built from the ground up to be a coaxial movement. It was everything the original George Daniels concept foresaw: a longer power reserve, better chronometry, and lower maintenance requirements. It's a twin barrel movement, so you don't get the big drop off in amplitude after 24 hours that you get on a single barrel movement, so that's an advantage. It has a 55-hour automatic winding power reserve. You can see it features hacking seconds, and it also features, on the dial side, a double quickset system for the calendar. It is a rare month date. Flip it back, and you'll appreciate the arabesque Côte de Genève across the bridges and the combination of blackened and polished screws. We have a free sprung balance and a full balance bridge for shock tolerance. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. It is a coaxial. It has an anti-magnetic silicon hairspring. All this is protected down to 100 meters. It pivots on 39 jewels. And it is a technical tour de force. Being an annual calendar, it requires only one correction a year during the jump from February to March. The dial was absolutely devastating in its detail and beauty back when I knew it in 2007 and 2008, in my early days working in finance. Well, I didn't have Omega money back then. I do today, and I still find this as desirable as ever. I'm an Omega man, going way back from my grandpa's retirement watch to my graduation watch, and I'm going to add one of these one day. You can see why. It has a really potent Art Deco reference dial. They were not oblique. They leaned heavily into the machine age combination of strakes, crisscrossing perpendicular components, almost like we're looking at a machine taken from the inside out, like a car engine exploded, or the top of the Chrysler building crash landed onto the dial. We have these lovely rhodium-plated strakes, and then we have faceted and alternately satinated and polished applique indices that actually straddle the rhodium track all the way around. And then you could see it comes to a head in a beautifully faceted and framed aperture for the month and the date. And you could see that it is both satinated and polished for exquisite close-range detail. You'll appreciate the same level of detail on the hands, which are polished on their facets, that is the outer flanks, but satinated across their top. And then there's a blued seconds hand, a very, very special watch. Again, almost reimagining Art Deco for the modern era. And heck, I fell in love with this watch in New York in the shadow of the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building, and innumerable others. So a fitting memory for a watch that jogs my best recollections of the New York City skyline and my humble existence beneath it. This is a rare personal account of a watch that meant a lot to me back in the day and still does. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.